and I'm just gonna say in this video, I'll be making multi-blood content. So I'll be making guides, I'll be making match vids, I'll be making some tech. So if you're excited for multi-blood, make sure you subscribe because your boy Bachiru will be covering this. That doesn't mean I will be ignoring Guilty Gear Strive. I can play more than one fighting game actually, and I love Strive. But for me, I just want a game that will remind me of the good old days. Yo guys, welcome back to the channel. This is your Bachiru. Long time no see. I've been taking a week off content creation, like for YouTube and for streaming, because your boy needs to recover from work. It's been so tough last week. So now I'm recovered and we're back, boys. So there is this one game that I've been avoiding talking about, and I just want to get hyped now because I don't want people to say later like, oh, Bashir is just joining the bandwagon later on. So in this video, we'll be talking about multi-blood type Lumina. I've been curbing my hype for this game so much because I know myself, like once I get excited for a game, it is so hard for me to focus on other fighting games. So I've been avoiding this game because I just want to enjoy Guilty Gear Strive. But French Bread has done it, and they've released a full match gameplay video. And for now, I cannot stop thinking about multi-blood runners. I'm so hyped for the game. It feels like it's a return to the traditional anime fighting game, like mechanics. So a lot of movement, emphasis on movement options, long combos, a lot of mechanics. So this looks so hyped. So I'm gonna be playing some footage in the background while I talk. So guys, as usual, if you enjoyed this kind of content, please consider subscribing, leave a like below, and let me know who will be your main in multi-blood type Lumina. So as far as I can see, like from the latest gameplay video, we see like a variety of mechanics, like from shielding into movement, into EX moves, into like the moon gauge and those things. So it feels like this game will have a lot of depth. I haven't played previous multi-blood games enough to understand the full mechanics, but for me, from what I can see, I really like this kind of gameplay. It feels like there's similarities to Under Night in Birth. I know that Under Night came after the original multi-blood, but for me, I can understand a little bit. Like we have reverse beats where you can place like a heavy into a light normal. I can see that we have a lot, like a shield that protects you, like counters for movement. I feel like there's a counter play for every single mechanic in this game, and this feels actually nice. I also really love the movement options in this game, and I also like that you can actually really move like before the round starts. So like positioning will be really important in this game. And as far as I understood from the older multi-blood games, there's a really big emphasis on movement. So for this to stay in this current multi-blood game, it looks amazing. The other thing is that actually, I know maybe it's silly for some people, but for me, I love sprite-based artwork. I love sprite-based games, 2D. I enjoy 3D, but for me, like there's a certain charm and attention to detail and effort put, because the artists need to draw like thousands of like frames just to make a character animate, and for me that's fascinating. And to see this game like in full HD quality, this is amazing actually. I really love the art direction of this game, and for me, I'm a very big fan of Nasuverse, like Fate Stay Night, it's Tsukihime. So for me to see like these characters like in this kind of design, I know some people say the character designs are boring, but I think that's far from it, and I think that's an intentional design decision. So kudos to them. Of course, I will not forget to talk about rollback netcode. So this game, boys, has rollback. So if you've entered fighting games through Dragon Ball FighterZ and you suffered through the netcode, you will feel like, oh my god, I'm so relieved that you play Guilty Gear Strive, like with the better netcode, you know, like the netcode of Guilty Gear Strive is amazing. And from what we saw, like from the screenshot, I feel like French, but they're actually paying attention to the art, like to the netcode of this game, because they let you like set your rollback frames. You can see the connection parameters. So I really like what Guilty Gear did, like to pave the way for new fighting games. So this is now the standard, and I hope all companies like Capcom, Bandai Namco, please follow in this step actually. And for them to implement rollback netcode in a sprite-based anime fighting game, for me this is a dream come true. I am so excited, and I feel like I will not stop playing multi-blood anytime soon. I haven't gotten my hands on the game, but for me, my gut feeling tells me like when I see a game and I see how it plays and how it animates, it looks amazing. But for me, for the longest time, I haven't found like a character so far that has really excited me. Like I really want to play this game. So I like CL, but I don't like to play characters that everyone plays. So I thought a lot of people will play CL. I also like Kohaku, but for me, I want a character that's not what they seem. I don't know if that means anything. So I want a character that's deceptive in the way they look, like equal to their attacks, and I want character like with a lot of personality. And for me, that happened actually. They recently announced Noel. Maybe, maybe if the leaks are correct, I'll play the other leaked character, but I will not talk about it in here. But for me, Noel looks amazing. So she's a mid-range character with good pokes. Nice character design. I like her personality. So she looks like a very interesting character to play. And for me, she is like who I want to play day one. I rarely have this feeling in like in fighting games these days. Like in Guilty Gear 5, I got into the game honestly mainly because of Ramlethal, because I love the character. So regardless of what the game suffers from, I have the character that I want to play. So for Melty Blood, even though the game systems looked amazing, for me it's always about the character. I want a character that will actually gravitate me, like to play the game and to pick it up. And for me, Noel was that particular character. Not because of Noel Blaze Blue, but because of the other person. I will just play some gameplay videos and you will see what kind of characters I like actually. Other than that, actually, from what they announced, actually, what I feel like flew like under a lot of the radar of people, and for me, actually, I'm partially maybe to blame, is that the developers, they gave us a lot of information, like leading the game's release, like at the end of this month. But for me personally, I was too occupied with playing Guilty Gear. But they've shown us a lot of nice stuff. So we know about the online modes already. We know, like, for now, we know like most of the cast. We know their plans for the game. And for me, like, they are giving people so much freedom, not only in the gameplay, also in the customization. And for me, that's something that I feel like we should not really underestimate. This game has a sprite color editor. Do you know how much of a big deal this is? Guys, you can make your perfect color for your waifu. You don't need to pay DLC. You don't need to pay someone who will mod your colors. So if I want a Megumin color for Noel, I can make a Megumin color. I don't need to beg anyone to make it for me. I know for some people that's maybe unnecessary or something, but customization and expressing yourself in the characters that like you play, for me, I feel like this is really important in fighting games. And for me to be able to customize something like as little to some people as the color, for me this is a big deal, and it will spark a lot of creativity, and you can actually adapt like your favorite characters like from other anime or from other games into your current character, so you can establish some sort of a bond or a connection. For me, I know for sure I will be creating some Blaze Blue colors for my characters, you know. Maybe I will make like a May color, because no one is speaking, even though I hate May. I'll be sure to make a Megumin color. Maybe I'll make an Aegis color, you know, from Persona. So I like this kind of thing. And from like the music that you're actually listening to now, the music of Melty Blood is really good actually. And I know that Raito has been working really, really hard to make the soundtrack of Melty Blood Type Lumina awesome. So I'm really looking forward to hear that soundtrack. I haven't been able to play like that Tsukihime remake, but it's still in Japanese, so I hope we get a glimpse of the story, like in the arcade mode. So I feel like for Melty Blood Type Lumina, there is a lot of things to get excited for. If you gotten into fighting games recently, like because of Dragon Ball Fighters or because of Guilty Gear Strive, a lot of things that might happen in the game might seem overwhelming. But you need to understand something. Games with depth, usually they're very hard to pick up at first, but once you learn it and you start to get good at it, there is a lot of actually like depth to get into, and you will feel like there is always a sense of discovery, and there is always a sense of expression, and there is always something you can do to get better. Improvement in these games are not really linear, because there's so many things that you can work on. So there is like an aspect where you can master more difficult combos, where you can optimize your movement, where you can learn matchups. So there's a lot of things like to sink your teeth into. And for me, I feel like what's really important in fighting games these days, post-COVID-19, is good netcode. No matter how much of a good game it is, if it doesn't play well online, it's already losing a lot of points in my book. I'm someone who doesn't go out of the house often. My friends live far away. So if I cannot sit down and play a fighting game on my own, this is a big no-no for me. And let's face it, not everyone can travel around the world to play and to compete. So we just want to sit down and play games at our own pace, you know. And for me, developers understanding this finally, after I'm 31 years old in 2021, this is amazing. And we can finally play games and enjoy them. So if you're a newcomer and you want to sink your teeth into Melty Blood, and maybe the game mechanics are turning you off or the character designs are turning you off, I can tell you something from my own impression and from my own experience with this kind of games. Learning it is a bit hard. There are tools to make the game a little bit easier for you to learn, like with auto combos and those things. But I promise you, if you are willing to put the time and the effort to learn this kind of games, there's a lot of depth and there's a lot of reward and there's a lot of creativity in those games. So if that's something that you've been craving and you're not getting, like in Guilty Gear Strive, this is something that I'm sure you will get into Multi-Blood. And for me, I cannot wait until September 30th. And the same thing I do with every single fighting game major release. I did take some time off work, and I'm just gonna say in this video, I'll be making Multi-Blood content. So I'll be making guides, I'll be making match vids, I'll be making some tech. So if you're excited for Multi-Blood, make sure you subscribe, because your boy Bachiru will be covering this. That doesn't mean I will be ignoring Guilty Gear Strive. I can play more than one fighting game actually, and I love Strive. But for me, I just want a game that will remind me of the good old days when fighting games were much more complicated. So I hope that Multi-Blood will deliver in this aspect. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you're hyped about Multi-Blood in the comment section below. Leave a like. Tell me who your wife will be or who your husband will be. Who are you hoping that we will get? And I'll catch you in the next video. Yalla, peace.